Welcome back to Cidery from Scratch. In today's video, we're doing a comparison of two different ciders. One cider is going to be without any sort of yeast additive, yeast nutrient, and the other one will have the yeast nutrient. Those nutrients being goferm and fermaid K. So for the one without yeast nutrient, all we've got is our two concentrates, basic apple juice concentrate, and then we've got a pound of sugar. And then we've got on this side, same thing, two basic frozen concentrates that have been thawed and our pound of sugar dissolved in water. All right, so step one, we're going to prepare our juice mixture. We're gonna take our two frozen, however thawed at this point, apple concentrates and dump them in. Then we're going to take our water and add 5 cups. These cups are 12 ounces. And 5. We've already prepared our 36 ounces of water that have been dissolved with sugar, 1 pound of sugar. We've got our Lalvin EC 1118 dry yeast. We're going to add 1.5 grams. Then we're going to hydrate it in 10 milliliters of hot water. And we'll stir it up a bit. Let that sit for 15 minutes so that hydrates. Then we'll pitch this mixture into the cider. We have just a few more minutes left on the yeast rehydration. While that's taking place, I'll go ahead and take one of our sanitized straws here and take the specific gravity reading of our juice. All right, we'll take one last stir on our yeast here. We'll go ahead and pitch that yeast. We are all set for this mixture. We'll just let this yeast sit for probably a couple weeks to ferment, checking back every now and again. We'll touch base and update you guys with this one tomorrow, once the fermentation has actually begun. Second mixture, same exact setup. We've got our 2 cans, 12 ounces each of 100% apple juice concentrate that's been thawed. It's about room temperature right now. Then we'll add 60 ounces of room temperature tap water, which is 5 of these 12 ounce cans. And last but not least, we'll add our 1 pound of sugar. Since this one is going to have the yeast nutrients in it, we'll start out by pitching the yeast and the nutrient together, hydrating the nutrient first. Today's nutrient we're using is going to be goferm, and we're going to take 1.9 grams of goferm. Perfect, 1.9 grams. We will add hot tap water, 15 milliliters for this one. We'll let that sit for 15 minutes, then we'll add the yeast to the mixture, let that hydrate for another 15 more minutes, Then we'll pitch that yeast and nutrient mixture. Okay, we've got just a few more seconds left on our yeast nutrient here. So while that's happening, we'll get ready to pitch the yeast into it. We need to add 1.5 grams. We'll then add our hot tap water, looking to add another 10 milliliters. Give that a little stir. We'll let that yeast and nutrient hydrate for another 15 minutes. Then we'll pitch that into our 1 gallon carboy here. Perfect. 1086, 20.5 bricks. Go ahead and write that down. All right, welcome back. It's been approximately 12 hours, just over. Now we're going to add our fermaid K nutrient to our 1 gallon carboy. That way we can experiment between the two, one without yeast nutrient and one with the yeast nutrient. Measure out 1 gram. Perfect. Then we'll add 10 milliliters of water just to hydrate it real quick. We'll let that sit for a few minutes and then we'll add it to our mixture. All right, so the next time we'll touch base is when either fermentation has stopped or slowed down, and we need to, at 1/3 sugar depletion, add another gram of fermaid K to this mixture. It's been a total of 5 days since we last pitched our yeast, so we've got a little bit of a comparison for you. We've got our apple mixture without any sort of nutrient. That is 7A. And then we've got our apple mixture with yeast nutrient, both goferm and fermaid K, that being 7B. So we both started these at 1.086 specific gravity after 5 days. 7A here, no nutrients, is at 1.067 for a current ABV of 2.5%. And then 7B, which has that nutrient, is now at 1.055 specific gravity, 4.1%. So quite a bit more alcohol by volume in 7B, the one that had the goferm and the fermaid K. At the end of this, we'll have to see if it makes any difference in taste. We'll update you at the end. But right now we've reached 1/3 sugar depletion on batch 7B, and we're gonna add 1 gram of fermaid K. All right, there we go, 1 gram. And we'll add 10 milliliters of water just to get it hydrated a bit. Probably give it just a few minutes, let it sit, then we'll dump it in. All right, it's been approximately 5 minutes, maybe a little bit more. We're gonna go ahead and add this fermaid K mixture to batch 7B, just to be sure. Make sure that was 7B. It's been 15 days since we last looked at our 2 ciders that we have here. The one without nutrients and the one with nutrients. So as you can probably tell, there's a significant color difference, and the one on this side is much clearer. That's because this one had the nutrients in it, and it's been done fermenting for about 7 days. This one just stopped fermenting probably yesterday or so. So that's why we're back now to rack them. Now I'm putting enough in the hydrometer so that we can take a reading. All right, so we got a little bit too much in our flask cylinder. Give it a taste. It tastes pretty sweet.
It doesn't smell bad.
It's strong. It tastes kind of sweet.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Didn't hit all the way to 1.000, so that's why it's sweeter. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add 18 ounces of apple juice to give it a little bit more of an apple flavor. All right, now we've poured our new mixture that contains the 18 ounces of apple juice into our cylinder again, so we can take the new specific gravity so that we can tell if this begins fermentation again. New specific gravity is 1.018, so not much change. We'll put the air lock, a new sanitized air lock on that, and we'll let that one sit for a week. Okay, we finished sanitizing everything once again. Now we're gonna rack our second batch that was used with yeast nutrient into our new carboy. All right, now we'll test our specific gravity. Oh yeah, just as I suspected, because this one has been finished fermenting for quite some time. We are sitting at 0.990, so quite lower. Write that down real quick. We will add our airlock and let that one sit for a week as well. It's been 7 days since we last sweetened our 2-gallon batch with apple juice. Unfortunately, at the end of that 7 days, our 2 gallons fermented all the way down, and we ended up with a 8.4% cider and a 9.8% cider. Those are a little bit too high for what we're looking for. We're looking for something between 5 and 7%. So what we did impromptu is we split 7A and 7B into each of their individual carboys. We added water to dilute one, and we added apple juice to dilute the other. We did that because we want to trial adding water to dilute it, see how that does. Anyways, that's all we have for you today. We're gonna wait another 7 days to see what happens, and then we'll go from there. At last, it's bottling day. So watch us as we start bottling batch number 7. One 1.010. Batch number 7 has been sitting in the bottle for 3 weeks, so now we're going to taste it for you guys and let you know what we think. Today we're comparing batch number 7, which was the juice without nutrient, the juice with nutrient, and then along the road we cut it with water to see what it would taste like after diluting it, because these ones are both pretty high, right around 8%. So let's get to it. We did try something new in these bottles. We're using our sealable twist top growlers, so we'll see how it goes. Listen in to see if there's a for carbonation. That was a decent bit of pressure. We'll just do a quick taste, smell test, and then we'll compare this one to the one that we used nutrient. Smells good.
It's sweet.
It kind of tastes like apple juice. Like it needed more time to ferment, but
you can't taste any alcohol at all, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it just tastes like apple juice.
It does taste juice, very, very sweet.
Okay, we can compare the colors and stuff with this one.
So we'll go ahead and listen in, see if this one has any fizz. Oh yeah, quite a
I
bit.
think they're gonna work.
Oh yeah, lots of fizz. Holy cow.
That's more than the other one. You might want to see that. It's because it's a deep glass too.
I'm trying to pour it against the wall.
Holy smokes.
Alright, so let's compare the color of these two. Actually, it doesn't look all that different.
No. It smells even sweeter than this one.
It smells sweeter?
It smells stronger.
Yeah, it smells stronger. It doesn't smell quite as much of a juice, an apple juice flavor.
How do I get rid of mine?
Just gotta give it a sec. What we can do though, while we're waiting for that to settle, we'll pour our batch 7 that we cut with water. Did this for 2 reasons. The mixture was way too high. It was almost 10%, 9.8% alcohol. And we wanted to experiment with water to see what would happen. Good news is there's fizz. Heard that. So these ones are both right around 8% ABV. This one is around 4.5% ABV because we cut it with water. Holy cow. We did open a couple of these a week or so ago to see if the bottles were starting to condition or not. They were starting to condition, but there wasn't nearly this much carbonation. Yeah. The one with nutrient definitely has more alcohol content.
Is that the second one?
Yep.
Maybe that's why I feel like it's like this one. I feel like there's more on your tongue because it's like an apple juice kind of thing. Like it feels thicker.
Yeah.
This one feels not so thick. It's like crisper. Because
during secondary fermentation, the yeast was strong enough because it had that nutrient to keep it going. On the first one, there wasn't any nutrient. So during secondary fermentation, it was a little bit weaker, probably overstressed yeast. So it left a lot of that apple juice flavor, not quite an apple cider, hard cider
If I had to
flavor.
pick, I would pick the one with nutrients.
Yep.
That's the second one, right?
So using nutrients will definitely get you there a lot faster. It cuts the primary fermentation time in more than half, by more than half. We can ferment with nutrients around 7 days. We'll get all the way down to 1.00, sometimes even lower. Without nutrient, it takes about 3 times longer, so about 3 weeks, somewhere between 3 to 4 weeks. You also have to be careful during secondary fermentation, because if the yeast isn't strong enough and it's been stressed during those 3 weeks, it doesn't quite ferment as well during secondary fermentation. But I am impressed how clear they both are. I was not expecting the one without nutrient to be so clear.
Look at how fizzy this one is. Like, look at the bubbles. Try that.
All right, so this is the one we cut in half with water. It really doesn't have much smell to it, probably because of the water. It's much more crisp. That's much drier. It actually isn't half bad. It tastes a little bit watered down, but it's not too bad. It's crisp. It feels refreshing. It's like it reminds me of like a light beer on a summer day type of thing. There's not enough apple flavor. You can't tell that it. To me, you can't even tell that it's an apple cider.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll have to experiment later with like a quarter water. Dilute something with a quarter water.
Not bad for a 7th batch.
It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be, that's for sure.
But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you next week.
And as always, remember to follow your dreams.